an audio-visual Rubik's Cube. That's how I've always described the pilot, because that is exactly what the pilot is. As you can see there, there's a clear link between the movements of the Rubik's Cube and how the pilot is edited, and that's very intentional. I wanted to get that set up right from the start, because that is what this pilot is doing. It's giving the spectator an audio-visual Rubik's Cube to grapple with, to figure out. You know, as I say in the series Bible, this whole concept is about making it participatory for the spectator, making the spectator a part of the story, so to speak, the process of the story. And that's really the whole thing with the opening scene. You have two scenes cut over each other. It's setting up those different layers, rubbing against each other, you know, and it's up to the spectator to figure those out. So we've had the title, and now we're in the jazz cafe scene where these two cousins finally meet, and this is where the spectator is introduced to the characters, introduced to the basic stories, so to speak. This is really the jumping on point for the spectator. The opening scene is, well, it does give information about Boris and the basic premise of the story, and that was more of a teaser, more of a stylistic teaser of what's to come. But this sequence here is really jumping on point for the spectator. This is where they can form a connection with the characters, and really that explains the simplicity of the camera work. Basically just two shots. Two reasons for that. I didn't really have time to think of anything more intricate, and secondly I thought, well, simplicity is the key. If the overall pilot is going to be quite heavily on cutaways, flash forwards, flashbacks, you know, cognitive material left, right and centre, and really this, you want a nice simple scene where you can just get to know the characters, have something that's quite close to the spectator's reality, to our reality. So the actors really carry this sequence. There we have a flash forward, and here we have Boris looking into the subtext. Now water is very key to the whole theme, especially the pilot, because water, rivers, is key. It's representative of the stream of consciousness, I'd say. It's about a river of selves. You can't step in the same river twice, and the same way you can't be the same person from one moment to the next. So what happened there is literally Boris, as indeed the spectator did as well, glimpsed into the subtext as it came up and broke through the surface. And as I've always said, Eyes is a story about the subtext. It's about thinking about what it is that's below the surface, what you're not always seeing. And as Boris has just explained there with the messed up Rubik's Cube, you know, it is emblematic. It's representative of how messed up Boris is of a character and his whole situation with his family and his life and the larger story. So here we have another more strongly integrated, pointing out that this is an audio-visual Rubik's Cube. The two are connected. And that representation there of the Rubik's Cube, of the branches of Boris touching the water, that is representative of what I call the Mindscape realm in the series Bible. There are three realms that this story world takes place in. You have the reality realm, the Jazz Cafe sequence, the Upaway sequence. That's the realm that's closest to our reality. And then in addition to that, you also have the Mindscape realm. Because this whole concept is about telepathy, and the Mindscape realm, in a sense, is the internet for telepathies. It's what they tap into and connect to other telepathic people, and they get, you know, cognitive material from people. This is what Leanne's doing now, and I like this scene because it's really representative of my attitude towards this story. It's a flash forward in a flash back. That thing with the Rubik's Cube, her completing it, we actually had to film that backwards, which was a huge headache to say the least. And then flipped it around in the edit so it looks like she's completing it. But she sees things before they happen, so she isn't just telepathic. She has additional gifts as well, and that's the whole point with their family. Their whole family are a family of telepaths, and that would have been a big thing in the story as they uncovered it and uncovered what it was that family got involved in. Boris is trying to get away from that, and Leanne is trying to uncover it. So that's where the conflict comes from. Now this is key, because the first scene that the pilot started in is Boris accessing a memory he can't access. It's a broken memory, because there's something missing from it. But because Leanne is able to see things, random images from the Mindscape realm, from other people's heads, she's able to see that memory in its original form, which is what you're seeing now. And through touching her hand by taking the Rubik's Cube, Boris is able to make a psychic link with her and able to retrieve that memory from inside her head. To be able to get that memory of this character here, Turner, who in the grand scheme of things, the overall story, is a very important character. She has a strong hold over Boris's humanity. You don't quite find out what happened, but you would if the story went on. And this is the point of the pilot right here, is that through getting the completed Rubik's Cube back from Leanne, from accessing his memory from inside her head, from getting it back, he's been able to get a bit of his humanity back, which is why he now experiences a change, and it's the reason why he's now willing to help Leanne. Firstly, because she gave him a bit of his humanity back, and secondly, because he begins to think, well, maybe she's a good person to have around. And this was the whole point of the pilot for me, because while this is one part of a larger story, I really wanted the pilot to have its own little self-contained story. And this is the story of the pilot. It's the story of Boris's redemption, of his change, becoming a cold, desolate person who's very messed up, to meeting someone who's able to clarify things a bit more, to be a bit of a help. And because of that, he's willing to help her.
Why did you?
Boris Karloff is why they call him Boris, but that's a whole other episode, which will never get made. Okay, so here now, we've transitioned into what I refer to as the third realm of the series Bible, the dream world. And that character who took the Rubik's Cube is the Jazzmeister, and he would have a very strong role in the ongoing story, but we won't see that now. And the dream world is exactly what it says on the tin. It's where you go to have your dreams, and hopefully, well, this is certainly my dream world, this pilot, but hopefully other people will get a sense of enjoyment from it as well.